2, 1, you're live.
A busy Friday here on PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. Guys, welcome in. We have the ladder challenge. We have 6 and 60. We have the prop segment, and we have all kinds of great games to get into as well. Carm, happy Friday to you, sir.
Happy Friday. We do not have a ladder challenge today. We fell off the ladder yesterday, Andrew. Actually, I went to sleep. It was 3-2 San Jose after 2 periods. I thought at worst I'd probably get a push on it and we continue the ladder challenge. At best it wins and we go on. I woke up and it was the same final or the same score, 3-2 final. But we're going to talk about the early game, guys. 2:00 game in Finland at Nokia Arena. Nokia, do they still make those phones, Andrew? Florida and Dallas. Then we're gonna go to Minnesota for Tampa, Minnesota. Your prop segments. We're gonna do the Devils and Flames tonight, and we're gonna end it off with the 6 and 60, a couple of best bets, and we just sign off for the weekend and come back on Monday. Andrew, Florida, Dallas, -110 both ways. I'm seeing a little money coming in on the Florida Panthers right now. Ottinger confirmed. It's going to be Bobrovsky for Florida. I can't see it not being him. Again, this is the 2 p.m. game. The total is 6, shaded to the under 15 cents. I'm going to give you guys a little parlay before I throw to Andrew on this one. I like Florida in this game, but all the Finnish players, it's been the players are talking about the buzz with the Finnish players and how they just look like they're in their own element on the ice in Finland, having a great time in front of family, in front of friends, in front of their fan base. So what better than to throw out one of those little pizza slice parlays, and it'll be a shot prop one, Andrew. I'm going to take three Finnish players here: Miro Heiskanen, Barkov, and Roope Hintz. One of my favorite names, Roope Hintz. All to have 3 or more shots on goal, 11-1, plus 1,100. A pizza slice on that 3. Go to DraftKings, click on same game parlay, and then you'll be able to do the shot props on these guys. 3 or more. So basically it's over 2.5 for each guy, plus 1,100. That's a lot of pizza for the weekend, Andrew. So that is one of my plays.
Andrew's not ready.
I do like Florida in this game. Andrew is not ready. He will be with us shortly. Guys, a couple of quick notes while we wait for Andrew. We always appreciate you guys tuning in. I watched the people watching count, and it just continues to go higher and higher during the shows. Do us a favor. I'll ask now, early in the show, hit that like button. It takes a second out of your day to hit that like button. It helps us here at WagerTalk. It helps our algorithm, helps our channel. You know what also helps our channel? Hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Join the ever-growing community at WagerTalk. 182,000 subscribers as of yesterday and growing each and every day. If you hit the alert button, you get notified of any shows that are going live with actionable info. We always have guys from sportsbooks in Vegas on the shows and alerts you to any free play videos. I will have a free play video up at some point this afternoon. The Let Carm Cook went 4-1 in the Circa contest last week. I'm off to a 1-0 start. I had the Jets last night in the Thursday night game, but that's not part of the Let Carm Cook video, unfortunately. But we're off to a 1-0 start, and we got 5 plays in that video. Dan, our producer, will chirp in my ear when Andrew is ready.
Just do the Tampa Bay game.
It's coming on.
Just do coming on. Oh, no, we got Andrew. He's good now.
We got Andrew. All right, Andrew.
Perfect
Welcome
timing.
back.
I'm having way too good a vibe so far on this Friday for technology to get in my way, Carm.
You're good.
It
sounds good.
Not gonna let anything happen, so we'll keep things going here. I heard before the show you were talking with me about creating some props and some parlays and some different things for this early game here, Carm. But with these early games for me, I'm always and with these games over in Europe, I'm always interested in goals. I think that there's like everyone's worried about the travel and everything, and kind of these teams in the current form that they're in. But when it ultimately comes down to it, I think teams get up for these games more than they get up for other games. I mean, our job is to try and figure out situational spots, right? A team returning home from a road trip, a team last game of a road trip, a team, facing a weak team after they just beat a bunch of good teams, flat spots, all these different things that people say, right? But am I crazy to believe that these people aren't going to travel to a different continent and not be a little bit more excited for this game than they might be for some other games? And I understand that could mean the defensive intensity is there as well. And we do have two good goaltenders here. But for me, I'm interested in the over here. I'm interested in goals. And I feel like we've been seeing that in some of these European games. We did not, in fact, see that in Buffalo and New Jersey at the start of the season. But it sure felt like there was a lot of pace to those games. And I just feel like when they go over here, Carm, there's usually that extra bit of intensity. Am I wrong there? Or you get what I'm saying with some of this, the travel here?
No, I get what you're saying. I don't think we saw it in the New Jersey and Buffalo one because it was real early in the season. They had a short preseason, and then they're straight off to Prague. And the Sabres really hadn't started clicking as of yet. They're starting to score goals now. Obviously, it didn't happen at that time. You look at these two teams, and the first thing that factors in is, okay, well, you have to consider that this is a night game, even though it's being played at 2:00 Eastern time here. It is a night game over there, number one. Number two, the Dallas Stars, their last game in North America was on the 26th, and then they flew out. The Florida Panthers, their last game was against the Buffalo Sabres on the 28th, and then they flew out. 9-hour flight there. It's I think it's a 9-hour flight, and I think they said 11 hours coming back, or 7 and 9, 7 going and 9 back. But the 9 seems to stick in my head. These guys have acclimated. These guys are ready to go. It is just whether, Andrew, you take the approach that these guys want to put a show on in front of their family and friends and their fan base. I don't know. I want to stay off the total because I think that at the end of the day, these are still two teams that just want to win the game. And however they do it, the fans are going to be happy. Are the fans going to be happy if it's a 2-1 game or if it's a 6-5 game? Probably they want to see the 6-5 game. If I have money on them, I just want my team to win. I don't care if they win 2-1 or if they win 6-5. But with that said, I do get where you're coming from.
Yeah, they're not winning low-scoring games. This Florida Panthers team too. So I think if anyone likes Florida, they're winning 3, 4, 5, 6 goals. Like they're not just like getting a lead and protecting it. And if you think back to the Stanley Cup final run that they had, I think we can both agree that was kind of the recipe for them. Was they were like that defensive team. They didn't need 4 goals to win a playoff game. But I'm looking at some of the scores that this team has this season, and when they're involved in some big games, I mean, think about, I mean, the Boston Bruins have been proven to not be the best team people thought they were going to be, but think about the games they had against the Boston Bruins. The total was at 5.5 in those games, right? I mean, seeing a 5.5 in those, and then, seeing score lines like 6-4 and 6-3. Curious to see this Dallas team. I'm more concerned about Dallas than I am about Florida, because Florida doesn't really seem to take nights off, but, I'll take the over here and maybe a little sprinkle on the team total for the Florida Panthers.
If you like, Andrew, if you like Florida, then maybe the over is the way to go. Florida's 8-3 to the over this season. You talked about it. Dallas is sort of the other way. Dallas is 9 games, 2 overs, 5 unders, 2 pushes. So they've trended to being an under team. Last year at the beginning of the season, I think Dallas was more of an over team. I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I believe at the beginning of the season, we saw last year at the beginning of the season, a lot of teams were trending to the over, and those props were really hitting, whether it was first period overs, whether it was full game overs, whether it was team totals, those were hitting. I think some guys in the chat were probably waiting for you to pop out a team total on this game. But if you missed it, Andrew, I mentioned the shot prop parlay was Mira Heiskanen, Barkov, Rupe Hintz, all three of them to have at least 3 shots on goal. 11-1 plus 1100. That's a slice of pizza on that one. Sit back, 2:00, watch the game. Hope that they impress in front of their fan bases and families, and we cash a ticket. If not, we go pizza free on the weekend. But enough of Finland, enough of Dallas. No, let's move to a game that is back here in North America. Andrew, I'll throw it to you for Tampa Bay and Minnesota.
Well, Carm, this Minnesota team, I would say, has been, if we're going to be completely honest, has been my mortal enemy this season. You know, I'm sure everybody in the chat right now, everybody watching after the shows were going live, everybody has that team that just kind of like has their number. And this Minnesota Wild team has my number, but I have to admit they're doing a lot better than I thought they were going to be. And I'm not saying that I didn't think they were going to be a good club, but man, oh man, this team continues to impress. This team continues to find ways to win. And when I take a look at some of the games that they've played recently, you know, even in games that they struggle, like that game against the Flyers, they still put up 5 goals. This team has an offense. This team can score. And, you know, you think back to that last game Tampa Bay played against the Avalanche. You know, we saw a flip in that game. Somehow the Avalanche opened up as favorites, even though most of their roster is injured. Tampa Bay at the closing odds ends up as the favorites there. They get the job done. But this Minnesota Wild team continues to find a way. And I spoke earlier in the season about how I don't want to step in front of streaks. And I've tried not to break that too many times. You know, the most recent one was successful, taking the Leafs against the Winnipeg Jets, where the Jets got their first loss of the season. But I don't want to step in front of it, this red hot Wild team, the way that they're playing right now. And I think that they're going to be a team that is going to kind of shock people a little bit. I'm going to take the Wild here on the money line. I feel like Tampa had a big game in their last one against Colorado. Maybe they come down to earth a little bit, but I think this Minnesota team is going to continue to roll here. And, you know, despite the road trip and the travel for this Minnesota team, they're finding ways to get the job done. So whether it's team total over or whether it's just money line, sign me up for this Wild team.
Yeah, that's wild, Andrew. That is wild. You know, listen, no, it is wild because I'm going to agree with you, which is wild in itself. How many times can I say wild on the show before we're done? It's kind of wild. Listen, last year, I don't think Minnesota got off to a great start. I think it was it might have been a mix of injuries. It could have been a mix of coaching. It could have been a few things, but they've picked up points in 8 of 9 games, 6 wins, 2 OT losses. The only loss was the game in which I believe they're going to bounce back from, which was, or at least Gustafsson. He's scheduled to go tonight. He didn't play the last game in Pittsburgh because we know Marc-Andre Fleury last trip to Pittsburgh and gets the win there. But he allowed 6 goals in that 7-5 loss to Philadelphia. I think the last one was an empty netter in that one. And despite allowing 6 goals to Philadelphia, his goals against average is something like 217. What does that tell you? I think I saw that it was 1.4 entering that game. Now, this isn't a small sample size. This is a guy who has played games this year, and a bulk of their games thus far this season. He's playing well. They're playing defensively well in front of him. They left him out, and they hung him out to dry against the Philadelphia Flyers. This is a spot in which, if they don't take any penalties and they keep Tampa's power play off, regardless of how Tampa Bay's power play is functioning this season, they can score at any time on that power play. Stay out of the box, play them 5-on-5, and I think Minnesota is the better team here. So give me the Wild minus 110 in this one. No thoughts on the total here. I see it's 6 shaded 20 cents to the over. No thoughts on this because it's tough for me to make a case for wanting to take the over in a game when you like the goalie for a certain team. And if it's Gustafsson, as I mentioned, his goals against average, I think, is 217. It was 1.4 coming into that Philadelphia game. He's allowed a 2 or fewer, I think, in 5 of his games. He's played extremely well. And we already know if it's Vasilevsky on the other side for Tampa Bay, he can be really good. And he had to be good in that game against Colorado as well, too, making some saves when the Avs made a push in that game after falling behind. So I'm not going to touch the over. I'm not touching the under. Straight out Minnesota Wild minus 110 for me.
Look, we're a part of the fan club now. We're a part of the Minnesota Wild fan club. I'm not sure if Terry Edelman's going to even want us, or at least me, on the fan club after I tried betting against them countless times this season, Carm. I don't think I'm even welcome in the Minnesota Wild fan club. But yeah, and I like that spot that you said, the goaltending spot here, a chance for a goalie to get back on track. Because if it wasn't for his performance, usually when a team scores 5 goals, you should think a team probably should win the game, right? And, they scored 5 goals and gave up 7. So, I mean, he'll want to get back on track and bounce back. It's a good opportunity to do so. Obviously, it's a tough battle whenever any team plays against Tampa. But Tampa is off a pretty good battle themselves against a tough Western Conference opponent, just despite the travel that they had and despite the injuries the Avalanche had. But all right, Carm, we're on the same page so far today.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's a good Friday.
Yeah. Props to you for being on the correct side, I think, in this one, Andrew, which is the Wild. Speaking of props, I was trying to segue into this next segment, which is the money-making, award-winning, much acclaimed Andrew's prop segment this season has been money thus far. Guys in the chat, guys in the comment section after the video's posted have been talking about your props. So give us some for today that are going to cash.
Yeah, guys, 4 straight prop winners on the prop playbook segment. It's going really well. And, sometimes we're reaching out and we're taking guys that are in good situational spots. And there's been a lot of days where I'm just finding guys on streaks. And you can't pick everybody, but you have to certainly pick your spots. And I've got 3 guys today on some great streaks to mention. Before I jump into it, guys, planning on a really, really big weekend, both in the NHL, CFL, and NFL. Promo code AM39 will get you guys 3 days of all sports, all action from me for the same price as one. That's $39. AM39 the promo code to get 3 days of all sports for the price of one. All right, 3 player props for tonight, for Friday. We've got Matt Duchene from the Dallas Stars. He's gotten a point in 4 straight games. We're going to get him to get a point, minus 120. Early start, guys. Get that one in early. It's an early start. They play Florida over there in Finland. Second one up here, Sam Bennett from the Florida Panthers, also in the early start segment here, guys. He is on a roll. Whether it's a goal scoring or whether it's assist, he is having a tremendous season. And it's also a contract year for Sam Bennett, and I think obviously he just won the Stanley Cup with the Florida Panthers. Will they be able to keep him? We'll find out, but he's playing extremely well, scoring a ton of goals, and the fact that we can get him to record a point at minus 115 is an absolute steal. Now, Anders Lee, over 2.5 shots on goal. 7 of his last 8 games played, guys, he has gone over 2.5 shots on goal. The Islanders might not score a ton of goals here, Carm, but they still get a decent amount of shots from a select few guys. And that's the best part about a team that lacks depth, is that you can really select a few guys that are going to do all the shooting and all the goal scoring. Of course, they are playing against the Buffalo Sabres, and we'll take Anders Lee over 2.5 shots on goal. And Carm, that works very well for a team like my Montreal Canadiens, because we only have 3 players that can do anything. So if you're looking for player props, guys, it's not a bad idea sometimes to look at player props on bad teams, because those bad teams only have a few good players. And when they only have a few good players, you can take those guys to do well. And as Andy Lang would tell us, you could also take guys not to do well and take them to not get a point. But Carm, we're riding the streaks today, man. Nothing really new. A few guys I've made money on already this season, and hopefully they stay hot for me.
I hope they do, man. Definitely. You mentioned Andy Lang. I've got to work Andy into the schedule, man. I love that guy. Loved hanging out with him in Vegas, Andrew. I think you guys did too. I'm going to ramble a little bit here. I remember one of our last trips to Vegas. I think it was during the meet and greet. I went to sleep. It's about 4 or 5 in the morning. I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fall back asleep again. I leave a note for my wife. I'm heading downstairs to gamble. And who's walking by? Andrew McInnes and Andy Lang. They've been up all night. They showed me like a handful of chips. They're playing roulette. They're playing every game imaginable. It was the best time in the sports book, which brings me to the next thing, guys. I'm going off topic a little bit here with hockey. This weekend, I get it. There's NFL, there's college football, there's hockey, there's soccer, but it is the biggest weekend in horse racing. And I know he's in the chat, Sean Alvarez. He puts up a Breeders' Cup. Today and tomorrow is the Breeders' Cup. Absolutely some best horses from all around the world. If you're looking for something to do while you wait for your games to go off, it's going to be on like NBC or what have you. Head over to WagerTalk. I'm pretty sure Sean Alvarez has a Breeders' Cup package up, and he does everything for you. Pick threes, pick fives, exactors, horses of value. So head over to WagerTalk and pick that stuff up. And Sean, I'll see you some point in December. I'm working on, Andrew, switching my trip to Vegas because I'm supposed to go from the 6th to the 10th and see Andrea Bocelli. I have floors for that concert, but Bruno Mars is in Vegas as well too. And my wife absolutely wants to see Bruno Mars at Dolby Live he's playing at. So I'm trying to sell one set of tickets before I buy the second set of tickets because they get costly for these guys. It's unbelievable how much you pay for concert tickets. Bring back the days of like cost me $40 to get into a Bruce Springsteen concert. With that said, that's enough of the
How
old
old
man,
were you then, Carm?
yelling at the clouds. 1985, the Born to Run tour at the old exhibition stadium, the Blue Jays open air stadium, not where they play now, the Rogers Center. It's on the same land as where Toronto FC's BMO Field is located now. Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. It was absolutely the best concert ever. Anyways, Andrew, I'm going to throw it to you. Devils and Flames at the Saddle Dome. How are you playing this one?
Yeah, it's a weird game, Carm, because you've got this Flames team that got off to a decent start to their season, like relatively respectable, right? And a lot of people had them pegged to actually be kind of like the sneaky bad team this year, like the team that was going to plummet the most. And it didn't happen right away, but boy, has it hit them out of nowhere now. They lose 4-2 to the Hurricanes, 5-3 to the Jets, 5-0 shutout against the Golden Knights, and then of course 5-1 loss against the Calgary Flames, and against the Utah Hockey Club. And this is the thing. I wanted to look at the first period over, but in this instance, it's like minus 150. And this is the thing. A lot of times when teams are off shutouts, like they were against the Golden Knights, I play the first period over, and it cashed. It was like 4-1 after the first period. But the next game, you think, okay, they need to win defensively. They need to win a defensive game because at this point, they're not going to outscore teams. They're not going to be able to be first to 5 wins. They can't play in a game like that. But the fact is, I'm not sure that they can. I don't think this Flames team, their defensive core is being exposed right now. Like during the preseason, when I was doing my research and I was looking at all the lineups for all these teams, the Calgary Flames defensive core was one of the worst that I saw. And when you look at the New Jersey Devils, when you've got Nico Hischier playing the way he does, when you've got Timo Meier shooting 4 or 5 shots a game, you've got guys like Jack Hughes, extremely hungry, and then a defensive core that plays offensive as well. I don't think this is a game where the Flames are going to be able to play defensive hockey again. I mean, giving up 10 goals their last 2 games is simply unacceptable, Carm. But I don't think they're going to be able to fix this problem. However, I do think they're going to be able to score more themselves. So I'm going to lay a little bit of chalk here on the over 2.5 goals for the Flames. And I'm also going to sprinkle on the both teams to score in the first period at plus 140. I don't like that price on the first period over 1.5. It's a little bit too expensive. So give me both teams to score in the first period at a much better price.
I like it. I'm channeling my inner Buster with this game, guys. I said regression was coming for the Flames. It has. I just don't think they're as good a team as they looked at early in the season. We see that. We saw last year. I think the Chicago Blackhawks at the beginning of last year won more games than they did the rest of the NHL season. But eventually those teams drop off. And I feel the same way about the Flames. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, in my mind. I just don't see how they break the top 8 in the Western Conference. And the Devils, give them the credit. This is a team that has allowed a lot of goals this season. But Andrew, their last couple of games have been very good ones. 6-2 at home against the Anaheim Ducks. Then they go to Vancouver, shut out the Canucks 6-0. Where it would have been nice if they just allowed one goal, 6-1 in that one. So I could have got my total in that one. But the inner buster in me says, put the avocados down and take the Devils -0.5 plus 155 first period. This is a Devils team that I think is going to be stringing a bunch of wins together. I think this is one of the top teams in the Metro. Carolina right now is running away with it. Rangers are equally as good. Those are the top 3 teams: Carolina, New York Rangers, and New Jersey Devils. And those are the 3 that are going to battle for the top 3 spots in the Metro. If the Devils can start playing this type of defense that they have the last couple of games, if they can do that consistently, they're going to win a lot more games than they lose. So I'll take them in the first 20 minutes of this game, laying half a goal.
I like that, Carmine, and get it done early. Get it done early in the game, and that's really where the Flames have struggled the most, right? As you talked about, that's where they have been at their worst. Sometimes they've been playing good second periods, respectable third periods, but it's too late at that point for them to salvage a game. And if you're giving up goals in the first few minutes of it, I mean, that game that they had against Utah was tough to watch if you're a Flames fan, because they were out of that game before you even went to the fridge to get, your second beer. They were out of it. They were done. And the game was already over. And, Utah ran away with that game. So get that one in the first period. I like that one. And overall, I just think this is a team that you can't really back until they prove otherwise right now. And they're going to be hungry. But guess what? They've been hungry for the last 4 games. So, again, I think we're going to see some scoring out of them tonight. I think they might be, get something going. There's that whole fat and sassy angle people like to say, of course. It was the Hughes brother reunion, as you mentioned, Carm, in the last game. And, boy, was that absolute dominance by the Devils. So I think both teams could get on the board here tonight. But, man, this Flames team is stinking it up. All right, Carm, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have as far as a look ahead to Saturday's slate in the 6 and 60 segment, a popular segment that you brought back earlier than you planned, and people were fired up, man. What do you have for us this week?
Yeah, an unfortunate 3-3 in the first 6 and 60 segment. I still stand by the fact that it should have been 5-1. A little unlucky with some missed empty net stuff, and then a late goal by the Leafs. The Leafs, whatever. That got me on the from hitting my under to the game going over the total. But I scoured this card, and it just seems like such a card that just favorites are going to cash this weekend. I hate to say it, because it makes me feel like, in putting this together, I looked at it and I read it over again. I said, my God, I am a chalk eating weasel with this 6 and 60 this weekend. Yes, there it is. I'm the Bart Simpson chalk eating weasel with this week's 6 and 60. So Dan, with your creativeness, whenever you're ready, I am ready to go. Remember, these are the early lines. These are the early things. So there are no prices out of yet. As of yet, they usually come out mid-afternoon, but I'm going to let you know. He's running the clock already. Look at this guy. Reset that clock. Come on, man. He's like, no, I got to explain it first. No, you gotta reset that clock. No, I refuse to start until that clock is reset.
Carm, man, never be an auctioneer. You can't be an auctioneer. We can't.
Yeah. I also tell my wife, let's go. And she's like, I just need 5 minutes, which usually is 5 minutes to my wife getting ready to leave is the same as, listen, there's only 2 minutes left in the basketball game. It'll be done shortly. And then 40 minutes later, it's still going on. Anyways, with that said, Dan, I am ready to go right now. Wow, he started at 49 seconds. What the hell? Chicago, LA Kings. Kings are a perfect 3-0 at home. All in regulation. Hawks 2-5 on the road this season, and this is the same team that lost 34-41 on the road last year. Give me the Kings in regulation. Columbus and Washington. Blue Jackets' third game in 4 nights. The Caps are still scoring in bunches. They're averaging 4.5 goals a game at home. Give me the over in this one. Buffalo and Detroit, another over. Back-to-back games for the Sabres, but their top lines are producing. And last Saturday, 5-3 between these two teams in Buffalo. More scoring on Saturday. Toronto and St. Louis, revenge game. Leafs were embarrassed at home, 5-1 to the Blues. They get it back here. Leafs puck line. Vancouver, San Jose. Canucks offer an embarrassing loss. San Jose struggled to hold on to yesterday's game. Perfect setup for Vancouver in a get-well spot. And then finally, Utah and Vegas. The Knights, 9-2 first period overs, 6-1 at home. Utah, 8-3 with the first period overs on the season. Give me the first period over in this one. That is your 6-60 with an adjusted clock.
That is your 6-45. I like it, Carm.
I should have done because Dan understands like football terms, so I should have just did this, like reset the game clock to 25 seconds or whatever. Like this guy starts it at 45 seconds. Like, where's he got to go? The guy lives in California next to Charlie Sheen in Malibu Beach. Like, what's he got to do in the mornings and stuff, man? I'm freezing my ass off here north of Toronto.
Maybe the host should not say, hey, let's start, and then go, oh, wait, I didn't want to start. Maybe that would help. That would at least help.
Whatever. I don't know. All I know is Dan is like the number one soccer capper at BetUS. So congratulations on that honor, Dan. Why. You are just absolutely amazing. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to just recap these ones because it was so fast for you guys that it probably threw you for a bit of a loop, guys. Fast. But if you're writing these down, Chicago and the LA Kings, it's the Kings in regulation. Columbus and Washington, it is the over, which will likely be 6.5. Buffalo and Detroit, the over, which is likely to be 6.5. Toronto and St. Louis, it's the Leafs -1.5. Vancouver in regulation, and the over first period, over 1.5, Vegas and Utah. So yes, as that image showed you guys, I am for this Saturday's 6-60. I'm a chalk eating weasel, but if we go 5-1 or 6-0, I'm perfectly happy with that. So let's see how that one goes.
As long as they cash, that's the point. All right, Carm. I'll have some plays up for Saturday as well on WagerTalk TV and recorded videos. So all kinds of action. You guys say we're not doing videos and stuff for Saturday, but we are. Both Carmine and myself, we've got plays up for you guys, videos, free plays, and all kinds of stuff going on. All right, guys, free play for me for the show. We're going to go over 5.5 Islanders Sabres. You're going to give me a Sabres game with a total of 5.5? Are you kidding me? I know it's the Islanders. I understand it's the Islanders. And they're off a horrific game. In fact, they've been horrific the past few games. But what better game to find your scoring touch than to play against Carmine's Buffalo Sabres? The Sabres have gotten better offensively. I still don't trust this team defensively. And it's going to be a very rare thing for us to see a 5.5 in games that they're involved in. Give me the over on Friday night, Islanders and Sabres. And guys, we got a big play going early in the afternoon tomorrow in the CFL. Big playoff play. Hey, if you guys don't like watching the CFL, doesn't matter. I hope you like cashing tickets. That's what we're going to do tomorrow in the CFL. Use the promo code AM39. AM39 will give you 3 days for the price of one. That's $39 at WagerTalk.com. Over to you, Carm.
All right, over to me. First of all, as far as plays, 3 plays up in action for tonight. in the NHL. A 2-0. Yesterday was a no sweat NHL night for me. I absolutely loved it. We need a bunch of those for my clients. Let's try and get 3 wins tonight. NFL card will be up shortly. We kicked off the NFL last night with a big winning night, so let's just keep that rolling. College football, number 2 at WagerTalk amongst all cappers in college football, and I have one play, and likely will be my only play. It's the game of the week for me in college football on Saturday. Get that over at WagerTalk. Grab that 3-day all access. It's going to get you all the plays on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm going to have a play on Saturday in the NHL, a 5% play. So all the more reason to get a 3-day all access package and get every single play released. There's also a couple MLS plays already up for Saturday and Sunday. It's the playoffs and match 2 of the each 3-game series. So you can get those included in the all-day, the 3-day package. I'm going to go to the first game. Florida, I said the Florida Panthers. I like the Panthers in this one. This is a series in which I'm going to take the Panthers to win this first game. And if they do, I'm going to come right back with the Dallas Stars in the second game. These two, I think, are going to split. I think Florida takes the first one. Give me the Panthers at -120. 2 p.m. Eastern time, that game goes. I will be watching that game, and I'll be playing some Breeders' Cup plays for myself, Andrew McInnes, and our quick hands producer, Dan Alexander. This is Puck Time. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit that like button on your way out, and we will see you on Monday.